I absolutely love Sean Payton and the confrontation to it.
Sean Payton with the hot fire, spitting hot fire. Oh, I loved it. That's like coach's beef? That's like a coach's beef right there.
Beef.
Okay.
And I had to hear Russ is washed. Russ is corny. Russ doesn't have it anymore.
That was accurate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Broncos head coach Sean Payton had some nasty things to say today about the Jets, and he even had some controversial takes on what happened with Russell Wilson last year. Plus, there are tons of scary injuries around the NFL regarding Jalen Ramsey and Joe Burrow. During practice, Joe Burrow had some serious problems. You see him throwing here, scrambling, and then wow, he just is limping right there. His calf was messed up. He fell to the ground. It was a huge concern for the Bengals, and it shocked the entire NFL world. What was really alarming is you saw him getting on the cart. That's when you know something's getting very serious, when somebody cannot walk. And Jamar Chase reacted to this, saying that Joe Burrow gave him a nod, saying he's all right, and he's not worried about it, and he's a strong dude. And then you have Diana Rossini of ESPN saying that it is gonna just be a calf strain. That is what head coach Zach Taylor said after practice. But this is something to monitor when you're looking at the competition in the AFC. And another thing to monitor for the AFC is the fact that Jalen Ramsey got hurt today. It was absolutely insane. He had a meniscus injury that is going to require surgery, and many people are projecting him being out at least 6 to 8 weeks. There was originally some hope that Ramsey could be back in 6 weeks for the season opener against the Chargers. And Ramsey even said he'll be back on that field stronger than ever in due time. And this is so minor for God's child. I trust fully and know he got me. I'm forever grateful to worship his name. I know my brother's gonna hold it down until I'm back though. And so it seemed like Ramsey was optimistic, but then he tweeted something more interesting. And he said this right here, that end of the season push is gonna be legendary. So this is sort of implying that he is going to be available towards the end of the season. That's why that push is going to be legendary, because he's going to be involved in it. So it seems like Ramsey could be gone for a significant amount of time. And Sean Payton, the Broncos' new head coach, absolutely went off today in an interview with USA Today, and he was talking about Denver last year and their squad. And one thing he said in particular is it might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. Now he's talking about Nathaniel Hackett, the former head coach of the Denver Broncos, who is now the offensive coordinator of the New York Jets and is a good friend of Aaron Rodgers. So Sean Payton is basically throwing mad shade at this guy and blaming him for the disastrous season instead of Russell Wilson. He says it's not just Russell, it was a poor offensive line. It might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. And he even says it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed, and that happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much bleeping time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. So he's saying that the Broncos hyped themselves up too much, and he's throwing shade at the coaching staff. He makes fun of Nathaniel Hackett, saying that they couldn't even get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties. And you have this funny thing here where even the Broncos fans last year were trying to count out the play clock so they wouldn't get a delay of game penalty. And that is a very odd thing to see. And then after this, he starts throwing mad shade at the New York Jets, and he's talking about the pomp, the circumstance, trying to win the offseason. And he says, we're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year. You watch, Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. And so he's calling the Jets overrated, which is absolutely crazy because keep in mind, they play each other week 5. They'll be playing each other early in the season. And then he even had Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, react to Sean Payton's comments.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean on that. He's been in the league a while. He can say whatever the hell he wants. But I kind of live by saying, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. It's
He says if you ain't got no haters, then you ain't popping. Calling Sean Payton a hater, saying I'm not going to address this guy's comments, but look, he's a hater, and that's going to happen since the Jets have a lot of good media coverage.
Obviously, we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4. and I'm good with it, you know, but
Wow, so there's some major shade happening, and it gets even crazier where a former Broncos player who now plays on the Jets started throwing shade. You have Billy Turner, the right tackle of the Jets right now, who did play with Nathaniel Hackett's team last year with the Broncos, just slamming Sean Payton. This is him on Instagram reacting to the statement by Sean Payton saying that it was one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. Well, guess what Billy Turner does? Billy Turner says, seems like someone started training camp and is trying to soften the blow after realizing what he's in for this season. Effing bum is what he says. And he's saying soften the blow after realizing what he's in for this season. What he's in for this season seems to be Russell Wilson. So Billy Turner is throwing shade on Russell Wilson here, and he even does hashtag Bountygate, calling out Sean Payton for being involved in Bountygate, in which he paid players. He was a part of paying players money to injure other players on the other team, and he had to be suspended a whole year for it. And he calls him childish, which is absolutely crazy. Seeing him clap back, Robert Saleh clap back, and he even went as far as to bring up Bountygate, and that's how you know you're taking real shots at somebody. Either way, Sean Payton could be jealous that the Jets are getting a lot of attention and are on Hard Knocks this year, but based on these comments and how much of a stir that they caused in the media, I would not be surprised if we see a whole segment on Sean Payton on Hard Knocks this year. We'll see if the disaster of Russell Wilson in Denver continues despite the fact that Sean Payton is there, and we'll see if the Jets end up being overrated, a little too much hype, and they're not able to deliver. Any of these things could happen, and we'll see who gets the bragging rights between these two teams when they meet up early in the season. Subscribe to this channel for more NFL content if you have not yet. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.